Welcome to episode 6 of Game Day Girls. I'm Ella.
And I'm Maggie, and starting off things, we're going to go with the Jets-Texans getting a win. I'm really happy with it. I think they're such like a second half team, and they need momentum, and it was just like, what are we doing in the first half? You know, like the guy, he had the ball, he just dropped it. It's just like little stupid things. It's like, you're a pro athlete. Like, he just had to walk another inch, and it would have been a touchdown. But, you know, second half, they really stepped things up. Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, we started seeing those connections. Garrett Wilson, I mean, we all saw, like, the Jordan catch. I think it was honestly better than the OBJ one. I could be a little bit biased, but I think it was a little bit better. You know, Aaron Rodgers, he had 211 yards, three TDs. Devontae Adams had 91 of those yards. Garrett Wilson had 90 yards, 2 TDs. So I think they're starting to piece things together. Defense, too. I mean, Texans are a good team, and I know that they're down Stephon Diggs. I know they're down, like, some of their main guys, but they're still a good team. They still got Joe Mixon. I think we did a good job stopping that. This is, like, now they're really, like, losing to the Patriots was killer because now you're in a situation where you need to win these next 3 games to even have a even record. So I think it's really important these next 3 games, and we'll see how they do.
I think it's important to win these next 3 games, like, if you want a chance at the playoffs. But,
yeah,
I mean, I think this is a very good, like, momentum builder for the Jets, like, especially playing a team like the Texans that does have, you know, Super Bowl chances.
Yeah.
I think they are total contenders, and with a really good quarterback of C.J. Stroud, Joe Mixon, like, really, really good offense. From the Texans' perspective, like, Stephon Diggs tore his ACL.
Yeah.
Out for the year. Nico Collins on IR right now. Like, I think that
loss.
It's a bit much for them, and I think they really got to step up in terms of the backups. And Tank Dell still had a pretty good game, and so did Joe Mixon, but moving forward, they just have to find a way to win games and hopefully get some of these guys back and get healthy before the playoffs.
Yeah, and I think people look at the Jets' record and they're like, oh, they're 3-6. Like, this was such a waste. Like, I'm staying loyal, and I see the signs of the playoff team that I see from them. Like, that performance that they had was the playoff team that I know. And I think it's just the little things of momentum. Like, in the past weeks, they were killing themselves with the stupid penalties. Like, the Bills game, we would have been up 27 to like 22 minutes to go, but then there was a holding. So it was just like little things like that completely changed their record, and they could easily have a 6-3 record if they just didn't have those penalties. But I think these next few games, they really got to step it up.
Yeah, and I think even like last week with the Bills and stuff, getting Devontae Adams, like, I think he probably wasn't used to the system yet. And I feel like this week it like really showed that they have a good receiving core that's competent. They have Aaron Rodgers, who has shown amazing things.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a Hall of Fame quarterback. And then Breece Hall, who just tops it all up and is a very good running back. I think you guys have the pieces. You have the guys on paper. It's just like making a team and putting them together. Moving on, Saints versus Panthers. 23-22 loss for the Saints. Overall, just a really, really bad game for them. I can't believe we're losing a team like the Panthers. Like, this is why Dennis Allen got fired, which I totally think is the right move. I mean, I've been saying this forever. Like, he's not a good coach.
Yeah. I think that they need to look at this now and be like, where do we go from here on? Because, I mean, statistically wise, they're not out of it yet. But, we all know you guys are kind of out of it. So I think this is when you need to take it as, like, an owner, all of that. Like, how do we move on with this franchise, and what do we do to fix it? It's just like a building season for them right now.
Yeah, I honestly agree. I think that overall, like, this just isn't going to be our season. We don't have the guys with Chris Olave being hurt now. Yeah. It's just not a great team. I think the defense, again, going back, like, I think we have a good defense, but we're definitely getting older. Like, I think this season should just be a rebuild season for some good draft picks next season and an ability to bring that, you know, superstar team back to New Orleans, back to, you know, the Drew Brees era.
But, I mean, Alvin Kamara, like, they're still, like, he absolutely balled out. He had 29 carries for 155 yards. You know, dude's a beast. He had 60 receiving yards. So it's just like, you have those guys. It's just, you need to figure things out.
Yeah, and especially with him being recently extended, I think that he's like one of the big building blocks of that team. Like, just with him being able to block very well, receive passes, like, receiving running backs are very crucial, especially when you get little dump off passes that, you know, can get 5 or 6 yards.
Yeah, just little things like that. Going into the Bengals Raiders, that was a great game. A lot of people are happy around here. They're now 4-5, and Joe Burrow absolutely played lights out. He just, I mean, this is the reason why you pay him the big bucks. Dude had 251 yards, 5 TDs, just lights out. And I'm sure people are saying this, but I think Mike Gesicki was a huge huge get for them. Like, he has been stepping up. You know, teams are going to cover Jamar Chase. They're going to cover all the other guys. So it's like you need someone else. And Mike Gesicki was there every time for them.
I definitely agree with the factor that, like, Mike Gesicki is an amazing tight end. But saying that, though, don't you feel like Joe Burrow is the one that creates some of that?
Yeah. They are, I think, getting the pieces together. They're getting rolling. It's just kind of frustrating, though, that, like, taking them this long, you just would hope that they would come up from that from lights out. It's like from the beginning with the preseason, you know, I think they just need to something. It's just not working over the past few seasons, and people have been seeing that. So they need to figure that out, because now they're in a 4-5 record, and I think we all know they're not a 4-5 record team. They're better than that.
They're a lot better than that. And I definitely agree with what you were saying. Like, over the past couple of years, like, they always start out so slow. They end up making it up and usually making the playoffs anyways, but, like, they could be, like, in such a better place right now.
Yeah.
In terms of record-wise, and like what you were saying, like, they're not a 4-5 team. They're so much better than that. We're just seeing that they're slowly getting it together.
And their defense is just stepping it up. They're finally clicking. You know, Trent Hendrickson, he had 4 sacks, and you know the guys are just starting to step up and they're figuring out their way. So they got a big game coming up Thursday Night Football with the Ravens on the road, which will be a huge test for them. I could see that game going either way, honestly, but we'll see. Big time.
I could too. And I think them beating the Ravens will be a huge test next week for them, and that'll really, I think, start proving to fans that they are a really good team and they seriously do have good playoff contention runs.
And we did see the Raiders, they put in Ritter, and, you know, kind of surprised by it, but, you know, he showed signs of being able to make catches and get them there. He had 74 yards for just the couple minutes that he was in, so I think that's a big question for them. Like, are they going to move on with him, or are they going to stick with Gardner Minshew? I think that they should move and switch to Ritter. Clearly, things aren't clicking with Minshew, so I think you got to make a change sooner than later.
Yeah, I think Minshew's a pretty good quarterback, but with them being, you know, they're not great, like you said. Like, their record's just not great, and obviously when you're, like, in that position, like, something's obviously wrong, and I think that it's the move to maybe switch quarterbacks.
Yeah, and going into Monday Night Football, that was a great game down to the wire. Chiefs came up top, now 8-0, you know. So Mahomes just played, again, lights out. And I think the big thing, like, with him is he's, like, playing with his backups right now, and he's still making everyone look great. You know, Kareem Hunt, he had 106 rushing yards. Travis Kelce had 100 receiving yards, 14 receptions. DeAndre Hopkins, you know, we all saw those great catches that he had. So I think even losing those main guys like Pacheco and Rice, they are still stepping up and finding ways to win and be undefeated.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think that this just shows how great of a quarterback Mahomes is, and what he is able to do with these receivers that are backups, like especially with Marquise Brown being out, Rashid Rice being out, Pacheco being out. Like, those are all big name guys that are getting paid the big bucks, and now these backups are coming in. He's making them look amazing.
Yeah. I think, though, if you're like a Bucs fan, you guys are 4-5. It's not the end of the world. You went on the road, world champs, and went to overtime with them. Like, you should be honestly happy with that. So I think, you know, Baker Mayfield, he's still playing great. You know, he had 2 TDs, 200 yards. So I think they got to keep going from that. And we'll see. So that's it for episode 6 of Game Day Girls. I'm Maggie.
I'm Ella. See you next week.